It's a Wednesday, and I want to talk to you about something, not about pessimism or optimism, but basically owning it. And I first want to start with a story. And the story was about last week. So last week I was away from my family for 6 days, and I went from flying from out of Durango to Baltimore, was in Bethesda, Maryland, flew down to Orlando, then flew up to Destin, Florida, and back home. I had about 4 different engagements, all which lasted most of the day, each day, back to back. And it was the longest time I've been away from my family for a while. But here's the thing, those engagements were things I'd been working on for months, if not the last year of my life. And they all just happened to be back to back. But there was a lot of seeding and conversations and workups towards it, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of times when I could have said, forget it, I don't want to I'm not going to do this, or I can't do this. One particular event that I was speaking at, I was actually turned down to speak at this conference. And I found another way to present at it and present in a powerful way. And the next day, right, I had to get on a plane and fly and speak again. And so while it took a lot of work up to get to this point to speak, I also, while I was on the road, had to be mindful of sleep and fuel and all of those things. And it took a lot of preparation. It's not like I just arrived at eating well or sleeping well or thinking of how to perform better on stage. It's taken some prep. And I share this with you because what you see online, what you can see that I post or what other people post, isn't always what you see, isn't always what you get, right? You'll see a lot of smiling faces and glamour and excitement, yet know that it took months and even years for those folks and myself to develop opportunities. And I share this with you because there's this quote that is out there, is your glass half full or half empty? Do you see the glass half full or empty? Which basically means if you see it half empty, that equates to pessimism. And if you see it more positive, that equates to optimism. But the truth is, and Mark Cuban said this, it's not about if the glass is half full or half empty. It matters that you're the one pouring the glass, right? And so essentially, how are you being and showing up each day? Are you able to withstand the test of time and how long it takes to develop relationships and the ups and downs of building relationships and building a business? And in order to withstand the ups and downs, right, it takes resilience. And in order to work through the challenges of the ups and downs, it takes grit. Bouncing back is resilience, and withstanding the storm or the challenges is grit. And so instead of thinking of, being more optimistic or pessimistic, just ask yourself, are you the one pouring the glass each day? Are you the one showing up and creating the opportunities? And what can you do to create those opportunities? And there are going to be opportunities that close in your face, but are you able to keep moving forward? Not get knocked down and keep moving forward. And I would say when I first started my business, Movement RX, years ago, as a PT clinic, initially, yes. But then as I started to grow into a business I didn't want to be in and wasn't going in the direction I want, no, not at all. And you know what? I stopped taking care of myself. And so my ability to make decisions was impacted. Even years ago when I started during the pandemic, this more corporate leadership training, well, it took me some time to really dial in the business, the sales process, and how long it can take for opportunities to come to fruition. They don't just happen overnight. And running a business, being in a business and growing a business, because growth is not linear, takes the ability to have perspective and say, how am I showing up each day to make this a better place for people and perform better? And the baseline of all this, what resilience and grit stems from? One is just owning it, owning the fact that, okay, you're in control of how you show up, but how you take care of yourself is grounded. Like when you start to sleep well, when you start to fuel your body, when you start to move often because we're built to move, and exercise, and start to really connect with people minus all the distractions, you are going to be more gritty, more resilient. That is the result. And you're going to be able to have more of a growth mindset in general. Because if you don't sleep well, everything feels like it's, on fire, right? When you're not moving enough, you feel more lethargic. And so I go back to, how are you showing up each day and owning it, the ups and downs? And remember, what you see online isn't everything, isn't the whole picture. And I'll share this. Last week, I knew that it was a really big week, and it was a great turning point for my company in the direction it's going, focusing on leader well-being, helping with improving emotional intelligence and physical intelligence within leaders, managers on up, right? If we can improve that in leaders, we know that it can impact the way the company is growing, how the people feel within the company. But the week was really full for me. I met hundreds of people, impacted hundreds of lives, if not thousands. And the thing is, eating well, right? How I ate on the road. It's actually really hard to eat on the road, eat well. There's lots of processed food, lots of junk in the foods we eat when we eat out. So being really thoughtful about the foods I ate and planning, because I know it impacts my sleep, but I know it impacts my cognition. How I was getting sleep and making sure that, right, my screen time was limited. So I prioritized sleep because that helps me cognitively and emotionally show up for people. Made sure I moved a lot. I didn't exercise. I exercised once in my hotel room. I did a 12-minute Tabata. But for the most part, I walked a lot. Right? I made sure I walked. I made sure I stood. And then really, had my phone away when I was connecting with the people in front of me so I could learn as much as possible. So that has taken years of preparation, though, for me to get to a point where I know, leading into a full week like this, what it takes. But then what that took to perform that week also impacts how I show up as a parent and how I live my normal routine life. And then it took years, knowing that it took years to also develop these relationships. Like, there's ups and downs, and there always will be. But the key is, I need to keep taking care of myself. You need to keep taking care of yourself despite the ups and downs, and that will help you be more resilient and more gritty. So remember, it's not about being, seeing the glass half full or half empty, being optimistic or pessimistic. What matters is you're the one pouring the pitcher. You're the one in control. You're the one that can shape how you see things and how you show up. So with that, have a wonderful day. Go be awesome and think about that. Noodle on that, marinate on that a little bit and see how you can apply that to your life. I'm Dr. T with Movement RX.